Hey YouTube, how's it going? It's Cad. Today we got a banger. Another banger by Cad. This is like fucking every day at this point, you know? Call me Jake Paul or some shit. Alright. I'm ranking everyone that was listed on this one website that said, oh, here are some people in the Epstein documents we have. So these are all people. I grabbed 15 of them because there was a lot of nobodies and like female actresses that I didn't really care for. You know, so I don't really give a shit about them, but I do give a shit about everyone else here. I think it'd be cool. By the way, I'm not political or anything. Let me get that very clear. Also, I'm going to use the DeVito clause, which basically says that I assume that you were on the island for snorkeling. You know, I'm going to assume that this was just like a chill party. Like, you weren't instantly chomo maxing. However, if you were a convicted rapist, and we'll get to the guy who is like a convicted rapist here, then that'll actually dock you. We are not doing this based off political things. I don't really give a shit about politics. I think it's all a joke. But this is all based on chillness, okay? All we care about on this tier list is how chill everyone is. All right? So, let's get this shit started. Right off the gate, you guys will understand what I'm talking about. S is like super chill, like I want to hang out with you all the time. We're not going to have that many guys here. And D is like, who brought this fucker in, you know? B's like, all right, you know, you guys get the idea. We're going to start off with Big Jeffrey himself. Now, here's the thing, guys. Jeffrey Epstein, yes, he's a convicted rapist and whatnot. You know, convicted sex trafficker, a fiend, if you may. But, like, he is offering his place at the end of the day. He is flying people out. Like, if you don't have the money, I'm sure that, like, if you're at a bar or something and you don't have enough to cover a tab, he'd pick it up for you. And then if you're like, oh, let me pay you back, he's like, nah. Just like, I know you get me next time. So I think he actually is a big chiller. I mean, he has all these people on his client list. There's no way he wasn't at least somewhat chill, you know? So for that, I'm going to give him A tier. And actually, we're going to get his accomplice here. You guys ever seen the movie The Incredibles 2? And you know the brother-sister duo? I always think of these two like that. Like, I think that he's like the big, you know, the money, the personality. And she's like the person that's like actually supplying all the underground, doing all the networking and getting all the, you know, the kids. I think Maxwell's low-key in A tier as well, above Epstein. That's right. On the Kid Is Here channel, we approve women. We are not sexist. I am beating the sexist allegations. I think that Maxwell's actually more chill than Epstein because every friend group needs the person that's going to like take photos. You know what I mean? Do you guys ever have that? Like I had a friend group where one of the guys, like he was always videoing and taking pictures of everything. We would like think that he wasn't involved because like you don't see as much video and photo of him. But the reason is because he's the one behind the camera taking all the pictures. I think Max will be the exact same way. You know, making sure that the party's always lit, making sure everyone's always connected. That's why she's an easy lock for A tier. All right, next up we got Al Gore. Now, Al Gore, I actually don't think he's going to be that bad. I think he's pretty chill. You know, he is there. You know, he did lose to Bush. So I bet he's a little bit salty about that. I bet he makes comments about it every once in a while. But, I mean, why wouldn't you? You know, I feel like the shit got rigged from him. I'm going to put him in B tier. Because, yeah, I think he'd be salty about it. But at the end of the day, like, you're on Epstein Island. You can do whatever the fuck you want. So I think he'd let that go. I think he doesn't let it affect him too much. He ultimately did concede the election. So I'm sure he's bitter about it, but not as bitter as some people who I may get into later. And for that, I'm going to give him an easy B tier here. All right, next up we got David Copperfield. David Copperfield is like, what, the richest magician of all time? This guy's like doing tricks on Epstein Island. He's like, let me pull a kid out of my hat. Oh, what's this? I made my condom disappear. You know, like this guy's fucking lit. I guarantee it. Easy A, maybe even S tier. But I'm going to put him in A tier, high A tier for now. Because this guy's actually fucking awesome. You know, like I'm sure that having a magician at any function just makes it 10 times more lit. He knows like 100 card tricks, I'm willing to guarantee it. You know, like if there's a kid that's crying, he's going to go up to him and be like, oh, watch me pull a bunny out of my hat. You know, calm the situation down. You know, I've seen videos of like dudes in the hood getting like magic tricks done on them. And it's like, yo, shit. Can you imagine all these old folks when they see like David Copperfield? Like, I'm going to take this kid and clone him. Fucking lit, dude. That's why he's an easy lock for A tier, and I will not contest this with anyone. Easy A tier. All right. I got to get someone out of here into the D tier, and I think Hawking's a good candidate for someone in the D tier. I think Stephen Hawking is someone that would like tell all the kids that Santa isn't real and then mathematically prove it. Like, he doesn't think that magic is like something that's cool and should be, appreciated. I think Hawking, sorry. I think Hawking would just tell the kids what's up. I think he'd ruin their innocence and then like show them complex math equations and stuff. By the way, like, I'm sure he's going to complain to like Epstein about like, yo, Epstein, this island is not wheelchair suitable. And Epstein's like, what are you talking about? He's like, there are no ramps. The ramps are too steep. I can't go up ramps. And Epstein's like, that's what kids are for, man. That's why Hawking's an easy D tier. I think he actually is like the shittiest one here. And I'm not just saying that, There's some other guys that are going to go in D tier. You're going to see a common thing. This guy, by the way, he's like considered an AI pioneer. I'm not going to do the research and look up his name, but I know he's an AI pioneer. He also goes in D tier. Slightly above Hawking, though, because I'm sure that AI shit's like, yo, we could like make stuff happen, man. But I'm still going to give him the D tier because, I mean, he's not going to be asking for wheelchair accommodations, but I'm sure he's going to be like nerdy and shit and ask for like Epstein's money to go build a data center with a bunch of NVIDIA GPUs and stuff. We don't stand with that. And also, fuck you for driving up RAM prices and graphics card prices, Mr. AI pioneer. Fuck you. All right, we got the Israeli prime minister. I think that like maybe he's worse than Hawking, but I'm going to give him the nod. I actually may put him up a tier. Nah. Because low key, like, I think he would just secretly hate everyone, but only be there to like get the networking power. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he'd try and fraud his way into getting like extra kids. Like, everyone's got like a child and stuff. He's like trying to do like trades and stuff, or give a child with like a 2-child loan or something like that. I don't stand with that, So Israeli prime minister, you're an easy lock for the D tier. If you guys know who this is, comment them below. All right. I think Donald Trump is on the same tier as Al Gore, though he's a little bit more salty about the election. Like, I think he's cool, right? Don't get me wrong. I think Trump's cool. Like, he would laugh at your jokes. He rolls with punches and stuff. The only thing is he's going to try and outdo you in everything that's being discussed. Oh, me and my wife, we went to the zoo. And then Trump would be like, well, I can't do a Trump impression, but let's just do my wife and I, we went to my second wife. We went to the Bahamas. And we got to see lots of black people. Lots of blacks. I don't know. Easy lock for B tier. I think that he's worse than Al Gore because, I mean, especially with this election shit, he'd be pissed off. He didn't concede the election, so he doesn't let shit go. And he'd always try and outdo you. So actually, he might go in the C tier. It's not, again, this isn't a dig on my politics, okay? Because I am going to have the Clintons a little bit higher. I'm not political here. This is totally just off how chill you are. Next up, we got DiCaprio. I think DiCaprio, this is before he got famous and stuff. So the kid was hungry. Which I can respect the hustle. I can respect the networking. He's an actor. I'm sure he knows how to mold into situations, how to improv a little bit. He's a lock for the B tier, and I think he's dope. Noam Chomsky deserves a D tier. I think he's going to do the same shit with Hawking, where he's just going to tell all the kids that fucking Santa isn't real and ruin their childhoods and stuff like that. Fuck you. Prince Andrew also is a lock for D tier because you just know this motherfucker is going to pull up with, by the way, Israeli prime minister can go up. You just know Prince Andrew is going to hit you with that. I'm related to the Queen. I am technically an heir to the throne. And everyone's going to be there like, cool, we're all famous. We all are important in society. We don't give a shit. And it's going to be like, well, like, my mummy is the Queen. And everyone's going to be like, okay, well, we could just call the Queen ourselves. Like, we have more power than you. And then he realizes that the Queen actually loves all these people more than him. Because that is a face only a mother could love. I mean this in full disrespect. And yes, I am a little bit, you can see my hatred coming out. But this guy's actually, I think the royal family's a bunch of dickheads, but especially Prince Andrew's a massive dickhead. Just look at this, you know? Another lock for D tier, and this will be my okay, I have a couple more D tiers. Kevin Spacey's going to be in the C tier, just because like I know Epstein was texting everyone in the group chat, going, I got kids and stuff. You guys got to just bring yourselves and be happy. You just know Kevin Spacey is like the kid on a field trip that has allergies, so he needs to bring his own food. Except he doesn't. He doesn't. He just has a very specific taste in boys. So he brings all these boys uninvited to the island. Like, yo, it's bring your own kids. Nah, bro, that is so invalid. You got to respect what the host is bringing, And he's just like barging in, trying to make it his party. He's a lock for C tier. But the reason he's not above these guys is because I think he would keep to himself. He would hoard his kids, but he would like keep to himself at the end of the day, So because of that, I think he goes bottom of C tier. I think George Lucas would actually be kind of fun. Am I crazy for that? I might even put him in A tier. Like, yeah, he's going to lean on the whole Star Wars bit quite a lot, but at the end of the day, he wrote it. So you could ask him a bunch of Star Wars shit, ask him to do some impressions. He'd bust one out for you right there on the spot. It'd be dope. And you'd be like, this was before, I think all this shit came out right before, no, it was after the prequels and stuff. So they'd be like, yo, what's happening in episode 7? When's it coming out? And he'd be like, my friend, that's a secret I got to keep between me and God. Like, he would definitely play some bullshit like that. But like, Star Wars, man, shit, it's fucking lit. Like, Star Wars just has people so up the ass that they're willing to get pegged by Disney just to endure it. Star Wars has gone to shit, but it's okay. People still fuck with Star Wars. And Lucas is like the encyclopedia for that shit. He'd be lore correcting and shit, but being playful about it. I just know that's how he is. Michael Jackson belongs in the S tier. I think he's the only S tier here besides maybe Copperfield. You need to understand, Michael Jackson was having people fainting at live shows. Nobody's doing that. This guy is selling record hits before there was like Spotify and shit. Like, I think Thriller, what did it sell? 36 million records? Like, that album, it's just broken so many records. And it's like, can you imagine what he'd be like if there were streaming services back in the 80s? This dude would have 1 billion monthly listeners. I'm not even exaggerating. He was so big back then. And you got to hear the stories. Like, his aura is tremendous. So I think he's an easy lock for S tier. I think that the kids would actually consent to Michael Jackson. That sounds fucking weird, but I think they actually would. In some weird fucking world, I think they would. This video is going to get me in so much trouble, but that's where I put Michael Jackson here. All right, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. I saved these two for last. Bill is prime A tier. Okay, like I'll put him below Copperfield because Copperfield's a magician. Bill Clinton just seems like a cool fucking guy. Like, at these parties and stuff. He just seems like the wild guy. He's a little bit horny. Very horny. He swings both ways. But like, oh, baby, would you just touch my penis, baby? But then, like, once he gets his squeeze, I think he's just a chill dude. Like, if you're like, hey, guys, let's go play hide and seek, he'd be like, shit, let's do it. He wouldn't say no. If, like, there was a... See, I'm stealing this from Family Guy. If there was a Dance Dance Revolution machine, he'd be on that shit like flies on shit. Like, I think he'd actually be a dope person. But you can't, as long as you're not a woman, obviously. Or Trump, apparently. But I think Bill would actually be kind of chill. God forbid we have a little chill Bill in here. Rob Stone, too damn. Anyways. All right, Hillary is going to be a lock for... I want to say she's D tier. Because she's definitely a buzzkill. But I'll put her in C tier. Just because I'm sure that in conversation she's cool. She's cool enough. She is married to Bill. And the reason that Bill isn't S tier is because she's married to Hillary. She's married to Bill. So she's got to have some chill. Bill wouldn't just marry Hillary because of, like, good looks. She's got to have some charm. The only thing is she's definitely, like, killing Bill's hype. Like, you ever been to a frat party? And, like, there's the dudes waiting outside the frat party, like, Where's my girl? Her phone died, but she was at this party. It's like, sorry, bro. She getting dick down right now. That's how Hillary would be. Just like, where's Bill? Sorry. He's being a chaperone. You know, like it's fucked. You know, that's some sad cuckoldry. So either she's a cuck, or worse yet, she's like just getting, it's just sad, you know? But at the same time, like, I guess that's what you get for being Bill's. That's what happens when you want to marry the wild side, you know? Now I'm going to do some quick tier adjustments before I end this video off, and you guys get the final ranking here. I think the Israeli prime minister should go bottom of C tier. He's not, like, worse than any of these guys. And yes, I understand that I put 3 scientists and, you know, great mathematical minds. I guess this guy's a linguist, but... And Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew's just a dick. I put these guys all in D tier. And it's without reason. It's not for no reason. Like, these guys would definitely try and actually the entire time, you know? Like, can you imagine Neil deGrasse Tyson on Twitter, but, like, even worse and with kids? Like, that's how I imagine these guys are. Kevin Spacey, I think, would be worse than Hillary, just because he would try and bring his own supply. I think Trump and Hillary belong in the same. I'll move Trump up, because at the end of the day, he's just trying to outdo you, but I bet he would roll with the punch as well. I'll put George Lucas in this tier. And I honestly think this is a good tier list here. The only thing Here, let me just see how this looks for a second. No, you can't. Michael Jackson's a star among stars. You guys cannot comprehend how good Michael Jackson is. Oh my God, dear Jesus Christ. You guys cannot imagine how good Michael Jackson is. I mean, if it came out that he was a chomo, and by the way, there's a lot of people that think he is a chomo, people would just be like, so what? This guy transcends stardom. There isn't anyone like it. There's superstars, and then there's Michael Jackson. And if Michael Jackson was on the island, I'm sure that, like, you know, kids can consent on that day. This is so fucked. This is going to bite me in the ass one day. Just so you guys know, this is my last Epstein video for a while. Unless they release, like, a new client list and it's, like, 100 people and there's, like, names that I've never seen before. I'm going to wait till that drops before I even consider making a new Epstein video. But I needed to get this out because most of my ideas are just me shooting the shit with my friends. And, like, this was a banger idea. And I released the top 5 biggest losers from Epstein Island video. And people were like, oh, Kat, you should drop the tier list instead. Like, that shit would do numbers. It would feed families. So that's what this is. All right. And with that, I have been Kat. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. By the way, I just want to thank you guys for the 93 subs I've accumulated. It's been a fantastic road. I wasn't expecting that many over the break. So for Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for all of you in the audience. And yeah, go tell your family you love them. Be glad that the Epstein situation is pretty much done for. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace!